Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt and I recently won NaNoWriMo. Basically, I wrote 50,000 words during the month of November, and because I won, I felt like I wanted to take a couple days off of writing and any creative project really, because even though I didn't feel burnt out after November, I didn't want to burn myself out. So I took a few days off, and now that I've taken a few days off, I wanted to start thinking about creative projects again and just kind of enjoying my time here in Florida. And so this writing vlog is very much just a relaxed getting back into being creative and writing projects again. And because I never actually felt burned out during NaNoWriMo or after NaNoWriMo, I think a huge part of that is that I actually won instead of not winning this year. But I took a couple days as a short break for me to basically try to not burn out. But now that I've taken a couple days off, I wanted to start thinking about being creative again and start thinking about exploring some creative ideas again and figure out what projects I want to work on next. And this is kind of just 2 days in my life on vacation and starting to think about being creative again. Good morning. I basically have the next 2 days of freedom because I'm staying in this house by myself because I was here with my parents and they had to leave for 2 days, but then they're coming back. So basically I have this house to myself for the next 2 days. So I have freedom of my time, I have freedom of creativity, and I've now successfully taken about a week off after I won NaNoWriMo, and I haven't touched any writing projects, but now I feel like I might want to today and tomorrow, and so I'm just excited to get to spend my time how I want to spend my time. Yes, I will be working a little bit as stuff pops up, but currently my work calendar is pretty empty for the next 2 days. I do have a phone call in about an hour, but other than that, it's pretty empty. So basically, I just get to enjoy being in Florida by myself, which is a new experience for me, and I'm looking forward to exploring that and getting to be creative and being outside and just enjoying my time in 80-degree weather in December. So after checking the calendar, I realized that I've taken exactly 6 days off of any sort of writing project, and I have done that since I won NaNoWriMo, but it's a little strange because after winning, I thought I was gonna feel really burnt out because I would have just written 50,000 words in a month, but I didn't, and I actually felt kind of creatively rejuvenated and felt really, really good, but I didn't want to jump into something for fear of burning out, and so I didn't, and so now I haven't written in 6 days, and obviously I'm now sitting out by the pool and just getting some sun while the sun is like at its highest point, and then I will do some creative stuff later. But I'm trying to figure out what creative things I actually want to do while I'm here. I kind of want to go back and reread the book that I wrote in high school, but I know that as soon as I do that, I'm going to want to make a bunch of notes on it and start the rewrite, but ultimately, that's not what I want to do right now. I just want to reread it, but I know that I'm not going to be able to reread it without wanting to then make it better. So I think that I will probably go back to working on Project DE, which is my high fantasy project that I've been working on for a couple years now, and I'm currently in the middle of draft 4, where I took a break to do NaNoWriMo, and I kind of want to I don't kind of want to finish draft 4. I really want to finish draft 4. So that's my current thought, is that's probably what I'm going to focus on. But I still have time and I have creative freedom, so I can work on whatever I want. Okay, right now I'm kind of wishing that I had brought like a printed out version of my Project LRF, which is the book that I wrote in high school. Obviously was not thinking that I was going to be working on that when I was packing for this trip, but I just think that it would be so cool to be like holding my manuscript right now and like flipping through and reading it. I just think that that would be like so idealistic, and unfortunately I don't have it printed out with me and I can't go somewhere and print it because I wouldn't have space to bring it back. But I just love that idea right now of just like being able to lay here and read one of my own books. even though it is still incredibly a rough draft and needs a lot of help if I ever choose to go back to it. But I just think that sounds so nice right now. I just got done showering after laying out by the pool and doing some swimming, and I feel so relaxed. I am so happy that work is really, really light today. I did have to take a couple phone calls when I was out by the pool, but other than that, I think the rest of my day is pretty free. But when I was outside, I was switching between listening to music and listening to an audiobook. I'm currently listening to Work Optional, and I'm going to leave that linked down in the description box below if anyone is interested in checking that out. I'm listening to it on Audible just because I like closing my eyes when I'm laying in the sun. And I really like how it's narrated. It's narrated very well. I didn't really realize it until I was on this vacation, but I have been in another reading slump. This happens to me rather often, but I was in a reading slump until I was on this trip and laying out by the pool and realized that I wanted to start listening to another audiobook, and I decided to choose the book Work Optional because it's not fictional, and so I don't really have to pay attention to characters and a plot and arcs and everything. And it was like a 5 or 6 hour audiobook, and so I knew that I would get through it relatively quickly, and then hopefully finishing this book will give me some momentum to reading or listening to other books, because with my reading slump, I do think that audiobooks are the best choice for me right now. And so I was really excited to actually start listening to this book, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about halfway through right now, but I think that the couple days that I took off of being creative after I won NaNoWriMo really helped with my reading slump, because I'm getting excited about stories and books and writing again, and I'm just crossing my fingers that that continues. But I'm now inside and it's about 3:20, and so I think it's time for me to make some lunch. And yes, you might be thinking that this is very late for me for lunch, but I ate breakfast a little after noon, and I'm in Florida when I live in Utah, and so my clock is still kind of skewed. So in Utah right now it's 1:20, which is much more of like a regular eating time for me. So I don't know, I'm on vacation, but I'm gonna have pancakes for lunch and I'm very excited about it. And I have been thinking a little bit more about what projects I want to work on, and while I was out by the pool, I was thinking about how nice it would be if I had Project LRF printed out so that I could be flipping through and reading that while sitting out by the pool, but unfortunately I don't. So I think the first creative thing I'm going to do after I make my pancakes is actually using a writing prompt, just because I haven't written in a couple days, just to get the creative juices flowing a little bit and see if that guides me in a direction for what I might want to work on today and tomorrow. They don't have to be the same things, but just kind of like starting to get those creative juices flowing again after taking several days off. The pancakes were absolutely delicious. However, now I want to sit down and do a writing prompt, and then I'm going to go for a walk. And I think that walk is going to line up with the sunset, which I'm really excited about. I ended up combining 2 writing prompts that I found on the Readsy website, and one of them was write a story in which someone gets credit for something they didn't do, and begin or end your story with, well, that was dramatic. So that was just fun. I got 230 words. Didn't take me very long. It was just kind of fun to like just, write something after not writing for 6 days. That was very lighthearted, very fun, very easy. This will probably never turn into anything, but just a fun exercise. Now, however, I get to go for a walk. These might be really, really small orange trees because they're tiny and still developing. I feel very short next to these hedges. They're much taller than I am. Man, I should have brought a book or something so that I could read out here in one of these cabanas or in this hammock or something, or even do some writing. I think that'd be so cool. Okay, that would have been really funny if I actually fell out of this thing. couple next to me just fell off of their hammock. Okay, so as I was sitting on that hammock, a couple came up and sat on the other hammock, and as soon as they sat down, they flipped, and it was honestly a little bit too funny. It brought me a great amount of joy because I almost did that exact same thing when I sat down on it. All right, another proud moment. I was just passing someone, and so I was walking really close to like a line of hedges, and a leaf dropped, and it freaked me out, and I jumped, and she had to ask if I was okay, because it happened just as we were passing each other. Very proud moment for sure. It is now later on in the evening. I got back from my walk and then I ended up going to the grocery store to grab stuff for dinner. So now I'm working on making dinner. And while I'm working on making dinner and eating dinner, I'm gonna do some more work because some things popped up for tomorrow that I need to get done. And then after that, I will enjoy my evening. I'm not sure if that means being creative or if that means like watching a movie yet or a little bit of both. But I've had a very relaxing day. I'm honestly having such a good time being here by myself. And I want to make it clear that my parents did not leave for any like negative reasons. This was planned as a part of their trip that they were going to be gone for 2 days. And I am loving the time alone. Well, it is now 1:52 a.m. So I did not end up doing any other creative projects or anything tonight, which I think is okay. I ended up primarily doing some work and watching a movie and watching some YouTube videos. But work got busier than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to do much of anything tonight. And then it actually got pretty decently busy because a bunch of trips for tomorrow booked rather late. Like I was working at like 10 and then again at 12 to finish some things up. And so just a late night with work, which I fully understand is a part of my job. But because of that, I have very much just been super chill with the fact that I didn't get around to doing anything else creative. The movie that I watched was called Army of Thieves on Netflix, and it's supposedly a prequel to Army of the Dead, but I thought that it was just supposed to be a heist movie, and then there were just like 4 random scenes with zombies thrown in, and I fully do not understand why. It did not make sense. If it was just a heist movie, it would have been pretty decent. Nothing like amazing, but like pretty decent. But the fact that there were just these random zombie scenes, I was so confused. But I wanted to finish it, and so I did. And so I did that, and I finished up working. But I will have the majority of my day tomorrow to myself. So with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, it is now the next morning. I actually got my day started earlier than I did yesterday, which I'm very happy with. I do have an appointment at 2 p.m. It is currently 11:30, so I'm gonna go out by the pool now and then probably need to do some work before that appointment. Most of my creative stuff probably won't happen until this afternoon, but again, not holding myself to anything. I'm just gonna enjoy my time and see what happens. All right, after doing my appointment today and the majority of my work, the sun is now setting, and so I'm gonna go for another walk. And while I was working today, my mind was definitely wandering to thinking about some of my writing projects, and like all of my writing projects. I've been thinking a lot about everything that I have written, more than like 10,000 words of all of those projects, and I have a lot of very good options to what I could work on next, which is very fun. And so as I'm walking around, I'm gonna see if I come up with any more ideas or if I get any clarity on what I might want to work on next, or if the best option for me would be to go back to draft 4 of Project DE.
It is now 11:43 and I've really enjoyed my time in Florida. I'm gonna be here for a couple more days before I head back to Salt Lake City. And I've just really enjoyed my time across the last 8 days to not write and just kind of enjoy my time and spend my time however I want to spend it. And like I said yesterday, I wasn't actually feeling all that burned out after NaNoWriMo, which I was really surprised about. However, I did want to give myself a couple days off in fear of a potential burnout, which I never experienced, which I'm feeling just fine with. But now I kind of want to start thinking about which project I actually want to get back into, and I am thinking that it's probably going to be Project CE, now I'm blending them. Between CF and DE. Project DE, which is my high fantasy project that I'm on draft 4 of and halfway through draft 4 of, or I was before NaNoWriMo started. And I wanted to take a break to try and write something new, which turned into 50,000 words of Project CF. But I am kind of thinking that now I'm feeling good. I've really enjoyed my break. I kind of want to start thinking about getting back into Project DE. So I'm going to go back in and reread a little bit from around the area that I left off and just not put any pressure on myself on how much I want to get done, but just kind of start thinking about it again. And so that's what I'm going to do. So my parents got back a little while ago and it was really nice to see them again, but I actually am kind of surprised at how much fun I had just being in this house by myself. I really enjoyed my time. So they're back now. I'm kind of ending my quote unquote like 2 days of freedom, creative freedom, time freedom, whatever it is. And I ended that with starting to look at Project DE again. I read the last chapter that I was working on before I took a break for NaNoWriMo, and just rereading that little portion really puts me back in the headspace of this story. And it was getting me really excited about getting back to working on this story, which I believe answers my question about what I'm going to be working on next. It certainly seems like it is going to be Project DE. I'm currently working on draft 4, but draft 3 ended at just under 120,000 words, and draft 4 was sitting at just under 69,000 words when I opened that today, but I ended up writing / copy and pasting over, depending on the section, about 600 words. And that means that I am back to working on draft 4 of my high fantasy project, which I call Project DE, which, for those wondering, DE is an abbreviation of the original title, which I no longer think fits, but it's currently just a placeholder name until I can come up with a really good one for publishing. Hopefully, fingers crossed on that one. But I think that taking a break from this story for NaNoWriMo was 100% the right decision. I had so much fun exploring my dystopian novel, which I'm calling Project CF, and that one I actually like my title on still, even though that one is also just an abbreviation of it. I actually really like that title, and I'm hoping that that title lasts through to the end, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously can't see the future, but I really like that title. I'm just not going to share it yet until I know for certain. But I think that getting to work on a new project during November, after working on this book for a little over 4 or 5 years now, honestly not sure, don't really want to do the math. And I've taken a couple of breaks to start other projects. Like in March and April of 2021, I started writing a science fiction story, which I call Project CBH. And I've really enjoyed using NaNoWriMo and Camp NaNoWriMo as breaks from my main project, which right now is Project DE. And I also feel very creatively refreshed, which is awesome. And I think that taking a break and focusing on something else for a month was, again, the right decision to feel rejuvenated. But I'm feeling really good, and I'm now sitting at 69,511 words in draft 4 of Project DE. And I'm excited to keep pushing forward with this draft and making progress. And I've really enjoyed my last couple of days here in Florida and my last couple of days since NaNoWriMo ended, and just not writing and not feeling pressured to work on any specific project. I'm not going to push myself to work on this one specifically, but I am going to try and fall back into a little bit of a routine to keep making forward progress with this story. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a big thumbs up, because that really supports my channel by telling the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and that someone else might too. If this is the first video that you are seeing from me and you want to see more like it, make sure that you scroll down below and hit that big red subscribe button and that little notification bell next to it, because I am posting videos twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.